I'm sure you've all heard that in order to train your LLM on how you write and how you think and all that stuff, you need to input a couple of writing samples to help it get a sense of who you are and how you think and how you write and all of that. But it has to be a specific type of writing sample that achieves certain goals. And if you just input, whatever you like or have available to you, you probably aren't going to be entirely happy with the output. So here are 3 things that you absolutely have to make sure your writing samples have in them in order to effectively train your LLM. Number 1 is you want content that demonstrates how you think, what your thought process is. Content that is a little journalistic, a little off the cuff, shows your stream of consciousness or fever dreaming can be really helpful because humans naturally write in sort of non-pattern manners. So you can get some short thoughts intermingled with long thoughts, but naturally the LLM is going to be very sort of systematic in its pattern of output. And so you want to give it your very best of sort of natural thinking. And that is really helpful, not only for writing output, but for helping it understand how it also needs to replicate your thinking framework in order to output something that you will deem as useful for you. Now, a lot of people, and this is like a little controversial, but a lot of people are using your LLMs to write things like LinkedIn posts and stuff like that. That's sort of why I moved to video because, it's more authentic now, I think. But if you are using it to actually generate content, you want to make sure that you're inputting different types of writing. It can be one file that you're putting in your context, and you want to have sort of long form, short form, maybe some tweets and some hot takes, a LinkedIn post, a strategy document, because if you don't provide that sort of diversity of writing output, if you only give it a couple of emails, it's only going to have that as source material to reference when you're asking it to generate a strategy piece or a framework for a PowerPoint presentation or a LinkedIn post. And so it's not going to match. And as we all know, the tone that we use when we represent ourselves on these various mediums is going to be slightly different. And so you have to provide different references that you think are really representative of your style if you want to use it for those things. The third thing that's really, oh my gosh, it's so important, is understanding that LLMs are the kings of pattern matching. That's all they're doing. And so if you tell it to follow a structure or a template or a framework, that's just kind of what it's going to do. And so you have to build in, if you want variability, if you don't want yourself to sound the same every single time, you have to build in the instructions for variability within your writing. And then you have to show it what variability looks like. What that might look like is annotations. It might look like instructions with like 5 different types of ways in which, you have said something in the past. It might be a framework of instructions that you found somewhere else and that you think might work for, what your thought process is in generating content. Building in the variability into whatever you input is really, really critical, because otherwise it's just going to input whatever you give it. And if you give it one thing for instructions, then that's all it's going to do. If you found this video useful, please give it a like or a comment or a share. It really helps with getting the word out. I'm Annie Tsai, COO at Interact. I'm really passionate about making AI more accessible and exciting and frankly more useful for more people out there in the workforce. So let's do that together.